Hello, for those who don't know me, my name is Elena. I'm 25 and I live in Australia, but I'm originally from France. Lately, not only lately, I feel lonely. A little bit more about how I grew up in France. So just to put a context to it, I moved to Australia when I turned 18. So up until that age, I basically spent my whole entire childhood in France. If I had to describe it, I wouldn't say that I really struggled to make friends growing up. I feel like you have that first phase in your life where you're a child and you can pretty much meet people all the time, talk to anyone, anywhere. You would go to a park, you would go to somewhere new. As long as they were also children, you'd quite easily make a friend. Then from the moment you turn around, 10 years old, you're a little bit older, therefore have your own interests and your own passions. You start sharing or not sharing things in common with others. When I turned 10, I moved out of the center of Paris with my mom and moved to one of the suburbs, still very close to Paris. It was only 15 minutes by bus. Growing up there, I wouldn't say that I necessarily felt lonely, because when you're at school, you're basically forced to spend time with the people you're at school with. And in my case, in my experience, luckily, I always had at least one or two friends, if not more. People that I could talk to, laugh with, eat with. When I turned 18 and moved to Australia, a lot changed afterwards. I think it was probably divided in different phases. You have that first year moving to a new country. When you move to a new country, you have the excitement of getting to know a lot of new things. People, culture, landscapes, all of the things that are completely different to what you've known so far. Plus, on top of that, when you become an adult, everything is new. And now all of a sudden, I'm an adult in a foreign country. So that was very exciting. But if I'm being really honest here, my first year in Australia was probably one of the most difficult. I could understand a little bit of English, but I couldn't speak it the way I do today. And so back then, it was difficult to make friends. My first year was very lonely. I was 18. It was very much excitement mixed with all of a sudden loneliness. Being 18 is what I had dreamed of my whole entire life. When you're a teenager, you just want to get older. You just want to grow old and become an adult. I wish I had appreciated a little bit more these years, because every age comes with its own beautiful moments. I would say that yes, that first year, it was really, really, really strange. But I knew it was going to be difficult. I didn't expect it to be as difficult as that, but I knew. It got a little bit better when I started going to school in Australia. I started meeting a lot of people, which was great. People from everywhere. South America, Europe, Asia. It was just so interesting because I was exposed to cultures that I had never been really exposed to unless I would travel to their countries. It was incredible. I was able to make a lot of Japanese friends, Chinese friends, friends from Thailand, but also from Brazil, Colombia, Argentina. It was just incredible because I would have never thought I could make friends from all of these countries being in Australia, right? That's where the real excitement started for me. From the age of 18 to the age of maybe 21, 22, I had met an amount of people, I can't even put a number on it. I met a lot of people that came and left Australia. It was exciting at first to meet constantly a lot of people at work, at school. It was amazing. But that's when also I started realizing, great, I'm making a lot of new friends, but I'm losing a lot of those new friends, because a lot of them were just coming here to visit in Australia. I ended up making a lot of friends in a short amount of time, but friends that wouldn't stay. I started getting a little bit tired of that, getting tired of having to say goodbye. It's not something that I enjoy doing. It's not something that I ever wanted to do to begin with. And when you have those friendships that you can feel you're very, very close to and you feel super comfortable with, having to say goodbye to these friends is very hard. It's making you feel like you belong to something, and once they go, you have to start all over again. And you can do it, but only so many times. Comes a point where I just found it not so fun to make new friends. I was definitely not ready to be meeting anyone that I wasn't sure I could have in the long run. And you may ask yourself right now, why haven't you made friends that are living in Australia and that are Australian? And if I'm being completely honest, it's actually a lot more difficult than you would think. People that live here, grew up here, whether they're Australian born or whether they moved here a long time ago, they already have their circles of friends. They already have their lives going on. They might not always be working in the same places, hanging out in the same places. When you are a foreigner and pretty much a tourist for some time, you might not be exposed to the people that live here on a daily basis. You're more likely exposed at work and at school to people that are in similar situations to you. You have no idea how much of a dream it was for me to make Australian friends. That's all I wanted. I've had a couple that I would say I really got along with, but they would always end up doing their own things, going their own way, because they already had their friends. It's not that they didn't need more, but I needed to find people that were actually interested in making friends with people that were not from here. And you can find a lot of them because Australians are super, super open-minded. That's not the problem. They will definitely talk to you, be super kind to you, open to know more about you. Does that mean that you will become actual friends after that? Not always. And I think I also realized they might not always know that you're actually going to stay. I thought about it and I was like, if I don't want to make friends that I know are not going to stay, the Australian peoples that I met probably didn't know whether I was going to stay or not. I didn't know either whether I was going to stay or not, really. It depends on your situations. Maybe the people that I've met felt that it wouldn't be the best idea to get involved in relationships they didn't know if they were going to be able to keep in the long run. And in that sense, I can't blame them. But I am here to stay. I love this country. Before the pandemic, I was in my adventurous and party era, I would say. I was meeting people constantly. I was super outgoing. The pandemic happened right after I met who is now my boyfriend, Carl. We got together very quickly, kind of almost forced to live together because of the situation. And from the moment the pandemic hit, everything shifted. Now all of a sudden you are forced to be lonely. Whether you want or not to be alone, we didn't have a choice during that time. And I am so grateful that I had Carl because I don't know how I would have gone through any of it without him. And I really feel for all of these people that were alone physically for these years that we all went through together. That phase forced us all to become maybe people that we were not and that we were maybe never going to become to begin with. I was never someone who really wanted to have a lot of time to myself. I like to have that time when I choose it, but I loved going out, I loved dancing, I loved music, laughing, making people laugh, being in contact with people. It's very important to me. And it feels like since the pandemic happened and everything reopened back, I haven't been feeling quite myself. It's definitely changed something in me because it forced me to become someone else, in a way. The people I will invest my time in need to first be here for the long run. Secondly, be people I can truly be myself with. Thirdly, people that feel like they can be themselves with me. And I think unless those three elements are reunited, I can't see myself making more friends. Do I want to? Obviously I do. I find it difficult in our 20s to meet people, first of all, because either people have already established friendships and are not interested, others are just traveling the world and meeting people all the time. And for those who are just settled, You could be trying to make friends at the office. Yes, you may get along here and there, but does this mean that people take your phone number or ask you out or send you messages? And I'm not saying I'm doing it. I'm definitely in the wrong as well when it comes to that. I'm not blaming others, I'm blaming myself. But I really feel like now, if I make a friend, I want to be able to invite them over to my place. I want to be able to have them over whether I feel like cooking or not cooking. I want to be able to see them whether we want to go have a drink or not have a drink and just sit down on a bench and do nothing and not spend money and just talk to each other. I want the kind of friendships that don't require anything else outside of our friendship to be together. And I feel like, unfortunately, at our age, with the people that I've been exposed to, it feels like if you want to see someone, you have to go out and have a drink. You have to go out and have dinner. There needs to be a reason, and I probably live a little bit too much in the past. Don't get me wrong. It's possible. Growing up, what I loved about friendships is that you didn't have to have reasons. You were just friends, and when you didn't want to be alone, you would call your friends. It could be, I'm watching a show at home. It's 4 p.m. in the afternoon. I don't want to be watching the show on my own. Do you want to come over to my place? I don't know what to do, but I just know I don't want to be alone. What do you feel like doing? That was pretty much what friendships were. And we didn't need to use these words. It was more, just come over. And that openness into our homes, that's what makes friendship grow. That's what makes them tighter. At least that's how I feel. I haven't been invited to anyone's home in Australia in 7 years. When I say that, is the people that I've met here that I thought I could possibly be friends with, no one has ever invited me into their house. I've never met parents, I've never met siblings, I've only been with these people in occasions. But there's only so much that you can share over occasions. Bringing people inside your home is the best way to really get to know someone. You don't want to have to dress up. I would want to be able to just call up someone and have them coming over and be in my pajamas. It shouldn't be an issue. That's what friendship is about. All I want is really to have people I can do nothing with, and that are okay with that. The reason why also I believe it's been hard for me to make friends with Australians, as much as I really want that to happen, it's most likely probably to the fact that I am not originally from here. Therefore, my sense of humor, the things I've grown up with, my culture, it's not the easiest thing sometimes, because you tend to have things in common based on at least your language and how you speak and your sense of humor. And my sense of humor in English is definitely not the same as the one in French, because in French I would have all of the references that anyone who's grown up in French would have. I would be able to use idioms and sayings and play with my words a way that would make people laugh and smile. But in English, it's not the same. I could be trying to be funny and make people laugh, but most of the time, to be honest, people are laughing at times where I didn't even try to be funny. So I don't even know what was it that was funny. Like, I didn't get it. And the more I think of it, the more I feel like, yes, as long as I will be living in Australia, I will be missing out on a lot of things, because English isn't my first language. When I hear people at work making jokes, laughing around, a lot of the time I smile, but I miss the whole point. I would have to wait that everyone is done laughing and then I'd ask someone to explain to me so I can understand a little bit better. It's not a problem, and I'm not complaining about it, because I've made the choice to be here and I am happy to be here. But it's not because I'm happy and I don't want to complain that I cannot share my true feelings about the situation. That's how I feel. I really am treating this YouTube channel as my diary. I always used to write in a journal growing up. I've always actually talked to myself a lot, which I've heard is very healthy, so no one can make fun of me for that. And I am technically speaking talking to myself right now, but hopefully these words will come out to you and this will start a conversation. I just want you to know that will come a time where we will all look back at this, and on a line of all of the ups and downs, these moments right now will look so tiny and will look like such small little dip just because they've been spread out over time. Right now, in a short amount of time, they look like very low lows. But one day those very low lows will become very small lows because they've been spread. I don't know if it makes sense, but let's try to keep that in mind. Let's try to make things change and let's all work hard towards what we want. Still, prioritize quality over quantity. The friendship, the good vibe, the energy, the trust. This is what brought me to making videos, because I want to meet people around the world. I want to have people to talk to. I feel the need to communicate. I feel like I have so much to say, so much to share, that I wish I could be sharing in person. But if I can't, at least may as well reach people around the world and have discussions, open conversations. I am not ashamed of anything that I feel or that I want. I live by my principles and my needs. If you too are feeling lonely, I want you to ask yourself, what do you actually need? What would actually make you feel better on a daily basis? Once you figure out what it is, loneliness will still be there, but you will have a way to resolve it. By understanding what it is that you need, you're actually going to be able to focus your time and your energy on what's right for you, because at the end of the day, there is one person that's always going to be there for yourself, and it's you. Yes, you feel lonely. Yes, it's not always easy, but please don't ever feel like you need to compromise your values just in order to stop feeling a certain way. It's only going to be for a short phase. You want things to happen for the right reasons and you want things to happen for the long run. I think I would really want, if any of you feels comfortable to hear how you're feeling, to hear what it is that you want and need, or you could have wisdom words to share to me or to share with everyone. This needs to be a safe place for everyone to share how they feel. It will only remain that I want you to know that I will never accept people to comment things that are putting other people down, not trying to make us grow and evolve. There's a way to say things. It's very important that we all choose our words very wisely, because we don't realize how sometimes saying some words that might not mean much to us can really affect others. So that's all I'm asking you. Please feel free to share your thoughts, but always consider other people's feelings. It did make me feel good actually to get it all out. It's weird, I really never expected that I would do that. I just took the camera and I was like, I think I need to speak to someone. And so I hope that somehow I made you feel a little bit less lonely, and there is a way out and we're all gonna figure it out together. I will see you very soon, hopefully on another video, which I hope is going to be a lot more positive and joyful. But I thought it would be very important for me to be honest with myself and honest with all of you by sharing how I really feel deep down. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.